Today I'm going to show you how to turn one AI generated background into a finished printable junk journal page. Hey guys, this is Fiona and welcome back to Granny Knows AI. This is something I think a lot of beginners struggle with. They create a beautiful background using AI, but then they don't quite know what to do with it afterwards. So they might leave it as it is, or they add too many bits and pieces, and the page ends up looking cluttered. So in this video, I'm going to show you a simple way to finish a journal page in Canva so it looks more like a proper printable product. We'll start with one background, then we'll add a focal point, some clip art, a writing space, a few layered ephemera details, and some final finishing touches. By the end, you'll see how one background can become a much more polished journal page that could be used in a junk journal kit, as an Etsy printable, or any digital product collection. So we start with the background. First thing I'm going to do is open Canva and create a new design. For a printable journal page, I normally use US letter size, either 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 8.5. In this case, I'm doing a horizontal journal page. You can also create an A4 version afterwards if you want to sell to customers in other countries. Now, I'm uploading my AI generated background. And this background could be something like aged paper with some faded florals, a vintage wallpaper, a texture, a lace background, old handwriting, or maybe a soft cottagecore scene. The important thing is that the background should not be too busy. If the background already has too many strong details, it can be hard to add anything on top. For a journal page, I like the background to have some interest but still enough quiet areas for writing, collage, or decoration. So once the background is on the page, I resize it to cover the full page. Then I check the edges and make sure there are no strange marks, borders, cut off objects, or weird AI text. If the background feels too strong, I'll reduce the transparency a little or place a cream rectangle over the top and lower the transparency to soften it. That gives me a nicer base to build on. Okay, so before I start adding decorations, I want to decide what this page is for. Is it a writing page? Is it going to be a decorative page? Or perhaps a collage page? And is it part of a themed journal kit? This matters because it stops me from randomly adding things everywhere. For this example, I'm going to make a finished writing journal page. That means I want the page to be pretty but still usable. I need some space where someone can write, journal, layer photos, or add their own ephemera. So I'm going to keep one side or one section a little quieter and build decoration around the edges or corners of the page. This is one of the easiest ways to make a page look professional. Don't decorate every inch. Give the design somewhere to breathe. Now I'm going to add a focal point. A focal point is the main visual element that catches the eye. So for a vintage journal page, this could be a Victorian lady, a bird, a rose bouquet, a butterfly, a teacup. In this case, I'm using a dress form. So for this video, I'll use a piece of clip art that matches the background theme. So you could create the clip art in Clipart Architect or the Junk Journal Studio, or generate it with another AI tool, or use licensed artwork from somewhere like Creative Fabrica. I'll place the focal point in one corner rather than right in the middle. Usually the lower right, lower left, or upper left works beautifully for journal pages. Then I resize it so it feels important but not overpowering. If the clip art looks too sharp compared to the background, I'll soften it slightly by lowering the transparency a tiny bit or adding a shadow very carefully. The aim is to make it look like it belongs on the page, not like it's just been stuck on top. Okay, so now I'm going to add some more layered ephemera or clipart to make the page feel finished. So I might add a small label, a postage stamp, a ticket, a lace strip, a torn paper scrap, a pressed flower, a bit of handwriting texture, a tiny tag, or something like that. The trick is not to add too many. I usually choose 3 to 5 small elements and cluster them near the focal point. For example, I might place a small ticket behind the focal image and a little lace strip underneath and tuck a small label beside it. Layering is what gives the page depth, but I don't want every layer to fight for attention. So I keep the colours soft and make sure everything matches the theme. If an element looks too bright, just lower the transparency or adjust it so it blends in better. Now I'm going to add some more layered ephemera or clipart to make the page feel finished. So I might add a small label, a postage stamp, a ticket, a lace strip, a torn paper scrap, a pressed flower, a bit of handwriting texture, a tiny tag, or something like that. The trick is not to add too many. I usually choose 3 to 5 small elements and cluster them near the focal point. For example, I might place a small ticket behind the focal image and a little lace strip underneath and tuck a small label beside it. Layering is what gives the page depth, but I don't want every layer to fight for attention. So I keep the colours soft and make sure everything matches the theme. If an element looks too bright, just lower the transparency or adjust it so it blends in better. Now we need to make the page useful. So a lot of AI pages look pretty, but buyers also want pages they can actually journal on. So I'm going to add a writing area. And in this case, I already have created a writing page in the Junk Journal Studio by choosing that I wanted some writing space on the page. But you can also add in like a pale torn paper rectangle, a vintage ledger card, a soft parchment panel, faint writing lines, maybe a blank label shape, or some faded notebook paper to create a writing space. In this example, I'm going to leave the page as is because I already have writing space on the page. But I'll show you how to add a soft parchment rectangle. I'll make it a warm cream colour, then reduce the transparency to the background so the background still shows through a little. Then I'm going to add some faint lines. I don't want the lines too dark because that can make the page look harsh. A soft brown, faded grey or muted sepia works well. Now the page has a clear place to write, which makes it more practical. Okay, so now I'm going to add some finishing touches, and this is the part that often makes the page look more polished. I might add a soft vignette around the edges, light ink splatters, coffee stains, faint script texture, a lace overlay, soft shadowing or aged paper marks, or I might add subtle corner decorations. But again, the word here is subtle. If the texture is too strong, it can make the page messy. For a finished printable, I want the page to look aged and layered, but still clean enough to print nicely. I'll also zoom out and look at the whole page. This is important because sometimes a design looks good close up, but when you zoom out, you realise one corner is too heavy or the page feels unbalanced. So I check, is there a clear focal point? Is there writing space? Does the page feel balanced? Are the colours consistent? Is anything too dark? Is anything too modern? Are there any weird AI marks or unreadable text? Once it passes that check, I'm ready to export. So once I'm happy with the page, I export it properly. For printables, I usually export as a PDF print file or as a high quality JPEG. If you're selling journal pages, you might include both US letter and A4 sizes. It's also a good idea to test print the page before you sell it. Colours can look very different on paper than they do on the screen, and sometimes small details print darker than expected. So I always recommend doing a quick print test if you can. And once the page is exported, it can become part of a junk journal kit, a mini printable paper pack, perhaps a freebie, a members only resource, or something you can use in a YouTube tutorial project or a social media post. This is why finishing your AI backgrounds is so powerful. One simple background can become a real product. So of course you can use your AI junk journal pages just as you have created them, either using Junk Journal Studio or whatever else you use for your prompts and your AI images. I use Artistly, but you might use something else. So you can use them as is, but you might also want to create them like I just did in Canva so that you have more control over your finished journal page. So it's a simple process. We started with a background, softened it, chose a purpose, added a focal point, created writing space, layered a few ephemera pieces, added subtle texture, and exported it as a printable. The main thing to remember is this: AI can give you a beautiful starting point, but your design decisions are what turn it into a usable product, and you don't have to make it complicated. A background, one focal image, a writing area, and a few thoughtful details can be enough to create something beautiful. I have created a free junk journal Canva template. It's a complete template for creating a junk journal kit, and if you are a member of the Digital Design Club, it will be in the Digital Design Club and you can use it for free. Otherwise, you can purchase it as a one-off. The links will be below in the description box. And if you'd like more beginner-friendly tutorials, prompts, and digital product workflows, you can find them inside the Digital Design Club. I'll leave the link below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.